Welcome back to Rated Radio. I'm Ray Zander.
And I'm Shane Wyndham.
This is Deftones versus Sleep Token.
Hope you're ready for a fight.
Roll that intro. All right.
Oh, hold up. I'm going to forget to mention this if I don't say it now.
Okay.
I failed to make clear during our Eminem versus Lil Wayne episode that our listener Sarah was responsible for both of those artists being in the mix, as they're both among her top 10 artists.
Nice, Sarah.
The reason why this is here is because both my wife and Codes from Semi Friendly list Deftones in their top 10. And so let's talk Deftones. I'm wrong. We're talking Sleep Token, right?
Yes, we are. All right, here we go. So the album that we covered by Sleep Token was Take Me Back to Eden from 2023. I gave it 7 great tracks out of 12.
Yeah, I thought 11 were great.
All right. I am not surprised. My bottom track is Take Me Back to Eden.
Mine is Do You Wish That You Loved Me?
And my top track is Are You Really Okay?
I went with Ascensionism, but did you just say Take Me Back to Eden was your bottom track?
I said what I said.
Okay.
I said what I said.
How's the music make you feel?
Well, bad now. Just kidding. Like I'm walking on a tightrope while holding the hand of someone special.
Like I'm making forbidden love.
This fairly recent artist, Sleep Token, who came onto the scene in 2016, starts off with a bang, bringing you a variety of prog rock, indie rock, alternative rock, and some hip hop that pleases the ear with its lead vocals that sound and can catch me completely off guard, similar to Volbeat's lead singer at times. While I can appreciate the prog rock, this host's interests fall mainly into their indie influences. More of that, please. This artist piques my interest in a major way, and let's hope they continue to not disappoint.
And then there's the resident metal sensualist over here.
Mm-hmm.
And poet.
Tell us what you got to say.
My God. Dream Theater meets The Cure, meets Killswitch Engage, meets The Weeknd, meets Meatloaf? George Michael? Tears for Fears?
I want to take a picture of your face right now.
Oh yeah. This is ethereal bedroom R&B pop with a sizable metal kink. With lyrical poeticism following in the likes of PM Dawn, the outfit owes the majority of its mainline appeal to the soothing, thick vocals steering the ship. But there's also a lot to be said for the odd combination of musical styles. Songs quickly go from feeling near empty to full-blown skyscrapers of sound, only to quickly crumble and build a new shape amongst the settling dust. While I do think the music requires a degree of patience on part of the listener, which may be an alien ask to the majority of folks, the payoff is usually undeniable, especially if you care about sweeping moments of grandeur or lyrical brilliance. One could argue what I just said means this album has an accessibility problem. I'd say that's trivial though. My main concern is the longevity of newness from what I'm hearing being a problem across future releases. Basically, with songs so clearly shaped around vocal melodies, things already begin feeling like rehashes even on this lone disc. Example, one of the main rhythms from Ascensionism is also present in Aqua Regia. Both the cadence and flow of Vessel's voice is so placeable that I'm not sure how much juice listeners will squeeze from it before things start bleeding together. Still, this could be a non-issue so long as he makes it a point to avoid trying to capture this album's lightning in other bottles. In terms of sexual comparisons, which feel very appropriate here, much of this is a mixture of gentle caresses and hardcore fucking. There's also an element of tantric delay to portions of the material, and you'll need to be appreciative of all those things in order to understand why so many people think Sleep Token is perfection. I won't pretend that I'm convinced they've earned such a lofty status yet, but I do think they've got the capacity, much of it clearly bled out on this record. Should they continue making music this exceptional, correcting for the minor issues with accessibility and similarity, I suspect they'll eventually be remembered as one of this generation's must-hear artists. Left standing on its own merits, though, the Take Me Back to Eden spin is absolutely a must-hear for every sensual sinner out there who wants to consider if music could ever be better than sex. A lot of this comes closer than you're probably used to, assuming you're not in a hurry.
I gotta go. See you later. Yeah, I knew when selecting it as, like, I selected it as my bottom track, and I went to go look. I know it's their number 2 song of all time. I knew I was going to get that reaction. So I was like, I said what I said. This album may not be like exceptional in I wouldn't say in any way, but it's hot. It's a hot album. It's a pretty sexy album.
Yeah.
I like it. I definitely want to hear more of what they got. I would even put it up there on par with some Weekend shit, you know?
Take it into the bedroom.
Yeah.
It's got the boom.
For sure. For sure. Get down with some Sleep Token. Anyway, why don't we take a break? All right. So the Billboard that we covered was Sure Thing by Miguel.
What did you think?
Well, what I thought about it is this track from Miguel sounds straight out of the 2000s. His R&B influence reminded me a lot of a young Usher or Chris Brown, but think like the Sheehan version, you know, the Temu, however you want to pronounce it, Temu version of it. Still good, but not quite what you hoped for. This song was definitely not going to move mountains, but it could definitely move a toe or two. I'd give it a 7.
As for me,
yeah, tell me about it. What'd you think, Shane?
I won't sit here and pretend like I'm mad at this song. I actually want to give some sort of bonus points to the artist for having a recognizable sound, something of a recognizable sound anyway. What you get feels like the ghost of 90s R&B mixed with a muted waiting room sound. The track gets fairly tired before it's over because of an unchanging instrumental bass, a few pieces of repetitious lyrics, and a weak, whispery bridge. But I really don't hate this. I'm not in love with it, but I would probably let it play here and there if I heard it in the car. 5 out of 10 stars from me. It's only mildly hit-worthy, and I'm apt to forget it for not being the emotional uppercut it wants to be. Still, at least it manages to stand out from a lot of the earaches we endure in the Billboard section of this show.
You beat a cash, I beat a rubber band, you could beat a match, I'ma beat a fuse.
You want to go talk Deftones?
Let's go talk about Deftones and probably end up pissing someone off. Let's go!
It's a me, a
Mario. So the album, is it me?
Yeah, it's
okay.
you. It's all you.
Okay. So the album that we covered by Deftones was Deftones from 2003. I gave it 2 great tracks out of 11.
I thought 5 were great.
Okay. My bottom track, let's start off on a negative note, is Good Morning Beautiful.
I agree.
Okay. All right. This is good. This is great. Everything's fine. And the top track is Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event.
I do love that song.
It's great.
But my top track is Needles and Pins.
Okay. How does the music make you feel, Shane?
Like I'm an oil-covered polar bear diving into chaotic Arctic Ocean waters.
Holy shit. And the music makes me feel like I'm fighting the current.
Hey, all right. Something.
Yeah. What did you think about it?
Why don't you tell me what you thought about it?
Okay,
I've been talking a lot and I'm sorry.
All right. You need a break anyway. You look a little winded. What I thought about the album.
I'm fucking sitting here in a chair.
I know. He looks winded. Just the thought of what he's about to say has him winded. This album from Deftones, which was originally named Lover, comes to us from the trip hop musical influence, which I had to look into all of that from the UK. At times, Deftones sounds like something Smashing Pumpkins would approve of, but this electronic nu metal rock sound is still one that I'm getting used to. Don't get me wrong, winners include Minerva, Anniversary, but sadly, that's all I will probably be returning to in the future.
You're super worried, by the way, aren't you?
About what?
Your Deftones opinion?
Your wife and Codes are going to listen to this. They're good people. I don't want to piss them off, but I'm going to end up ultimately pissing someone off somewhere. I live that way, so.
All right, well, try being me. All these years later, and I still maintain that if this had been my introduction to the group, I'd have very mixed feelings about them. Dissonance is the name of this game by and large. The group's meaty and pleasurable distortion clashes in warlike brutality with Chino's vocal duality. The problem for me is that this isn't always a best foot forward winning sort of combination, such as I've grown used to from many of their other releases. It's hot and cold, hit or miss to my mind, which, while I absolutely adore certain songs and think the musicianship is killer, keeps me from thinking of this disc as the essential listen status I'm impatiently waiting to give some of their other outings. Deftones are one of my favorite bands, and I'd never tell anyone to skip this listen, but I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I think of them as largely capable of better than this. Something's just slightly off in a good deal of spots, making this an album which would be solid by most groups' metrics, but feels lesser for this listener considering it's the goddamn Deftones, and I'm supposed to be one of their self-appointed cheerleaders. More choruses could swing harder, the lyrics could be more memorable. I crave a bit more wow factor from the instrumental side of these compositions, and wish the lead singer didn't seem so randomly lost in the weeds of what's happening here. Hate to sound this critical, but my straight dope on the self-titled album remains one of a lackluster high. It's Siamese Dream meets 13 Ways to Bleed on stage, only everyone's shooting heroin or sniffing coke, often out of sync. There are flashes of brilliance which jut out of the resulting death dream like diamond-studded last breaths. Not enough of them, though, to keep more than the ghost of its heart beating.
I'm not glad that you are disappointed. I mean, you're disappointed, but you're not. You expected better from them, because I had heard a lot of great about Deftones, never sat down and listened to them. And I've been hearing even the younger generation is getting into a lot of Deftones music. I've been hearing younger kids talk about Deftones. So I was really excited about this listen. And when I sat down and I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, I kind of took it a little personally.
Yeah.
Because I know how much you like Deftones, and I do know that your wife likes Deftones. So I was like, there has to be something there for me. So that's why I was nervous, is because I thought this would be something you would particularly like, but it's refreshing to know that even an album by your favorite artist can disappoint you.
I've always got a lot of shit for my takes on this album regardless, because the big Deftones fans that I know, apart from myself, are all really, really hooked on Minerva. Mm-hmm. Think of that as one of their best songs.
I mean, I made note of it. I liked Minerva.
See, I don't dislike Minerva. It's far from one of my favorite Deftones songs. My oldest sister routinely says that she doesn't like Deftones, and my mind always thinks it's just that you haven't heard the right Deftones. And I always think of this album as that experience for me, because I've had I've got a Deftones problem. Let's say that, you know.
I'm glad you're admitting it.
This was initially supposed to be on hold. Mm-hmm. We're not supposed to be covering Deftones until I could get Austin here again from Semi-Friendly. Yeah. But we've got to talk about it at some point. Yeah. So my apologies again to the people that we cut out just to make these episodes happen. But
at least we're covering an album that you're not super passionate about. You know what I mean? Like, let's save the passion for when Austin's here. We still got plenty of time. We still got plenty of albums to cover by Deftones if we want to.
I want to say that I read somewhere or heard in an interview somewhere that Chino thinks of this as one of his least favorite albums that they've ever done, which is crazy because the fucking cover art makes you think like
is it the owl?
No, the owl is Diamond Eyes. This one's the skull.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous.
Which it looks like another album cover to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's
thinking of Pantera.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I was upset when I saw this because I know I like Sleep Token. I just hadn't heard that album in full. Mm-hmm. But I kept seeing people talk about it as the best album of the year when it came out.
Yeah.
And I knew the moment I saw the self-titled disc spin and the randomizer, fuck, I know who's going to win this. And yeah, I was right for myself. Sleep Token definitely took this for me.
And Sleep Token definitely took it for me as well. I will be looking into that artist more and more. That whole, sexy weekend vibe, playing field that they're both sort of on. Yeah, I'm with that shit. So I will be back. Sleep Token. I'll be back.
And you're not alone, by the way. I know a bunch of metalheads who don't get into Sleep Token. Like I said, that music requires some patience, and it's a lot of the realm of the weekend.
Yeah.
It's bedroom music.
Yeah.
It's bedroom metal.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I think I can get down to metal if it's like a bedroom metal. The quicker pace complexity of it, I think I am just overwhelmed by the complexity of it.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. But we have talked in the past. I definitely enjoy variations of metal, where we just need to fine tune where I lean, you know? So, but that's what this podcast is for. And that's why you're here. Welcome to the Rated Radio podcast.
Please, a good time to say, please like or subscribe if you're still listening. And remember, you can send us all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com. I wanted to add, as for the winner, Sleep Token, they take this matchup thanks to higher marks and more consistency among the randomized albums. But while I'd gladly fuck to either of these artists, my contention will continue to be that Deftones reigns supreme in the bedroom. And we all know that this head-to-head was low-key about which group you'd rather hear horizontally.
And with that, fill your bedroom with music.
I'll allow it.